Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I want to begin this video by asking you a very simple question. What do you think really happened to Raila Odinga's campaign? Because majority of Raila Odinga supporters believed very strongly that he was going to emerge the outright winner in this year's general election. But Wafula Chebukati ended up announcing or declaring William Samoei Arap Ruto as the president-elect of the Republic of Kenya. And it became clear and apparent that there were things which went wrong with Raila Odinga's campaign. And one gentleman, Donald Kipkorir, who is a close ally of Raila Odinga and a top lawyer in this country, made some interesting tweet yesterday. Donald Kipkorir is saying, Raila Odinga was let down and betrayed by people closest to him and those who ran Azimio Secretariat. They lied to him. They had everything under control. They lied. All agents were in place and paid. Now they are lying about Supreme Court case instead of working on it to be foolproof. Now that's Donald Kipkorir. This is a gentleman who had actually gone ahead and organized a party to celebrate Raila Odinga's victory. That victory never arrived. And you all know that Raila Odinga went to the courts. And the outcome of that court is going to be two. Either it's going to nullify the election of William Samoei Arap Ruto and a new one called. Or it might actually go ahead and confirm that William Ruto won the elections. Raila Odinga and his supporters are expecting one outcome, a rerun. But is Raila Odinga prepared for the rerun? That's the question. Because if you look at William Ruto and his side, they're already running. And for those who've been following online, William Ruto and his team are currently engaging in serious propaganda. And one of the propaganda they're using is that there's no way Raila Odinga can become the president because of a curse by the father. That is one of the propaganda they've been using. The idea for them using that propaganda is that they want to discourage Raila Odinga supporters from their continued support. You know, if you are told that this guy cannot become the president because the father cast him, you voted for him, so it means there is no way he can win the election. The other propaganda which they are now using, which is also very lethal, by the way, is that they've started paying people money to go on camera the way I am on camera right now, to say that as someone who has stood with Raila Odinga, they're now tired. They voted for Raila Odinga and they're now tired. Again, William Ruto and his team are already moving as if William Ruto is the president already. And they're laying the strategy and elaborate plans in case of runoff. But what about Raila Odinga's side? What is really happening to Raila Odinga's campaign? In this video, I want us to look at the 5 mistakes which Raila Odinga must avoid in case of Wafula Chebukati's declaration of William Ruto as the president-elect is going to be nullified. But before you do that, in case you're watching this channel for the first time, I want you to take a second or two, click that subscribe button now, so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. And I have one request. Please give this video thumbs up. Just press that like button. Now, you can drop your comment and you can also share this video to your platform. And of course, you can also send me coffee, because today is also Friday. Now, I don't want to get much into the mistakes which Raila Odinga committed in the last election. There are so many. One of the mistakes Raila Odinga committed was to focus on the 6 Ps campaign. In Nyanza, for example, majority of the people who are contesting as independent or those other political parties did not make it. You can't attribute that to the 6th campaign which Raila Odinga initiated. But now, as we go for the rerun, those people who are allowed to run as independent and edged out of Raila Odinga's campaign, they are their supporters, and their supporters are not happy. But let us not get into that. I want us to focus on the mistakes which Raila Odinga must avoid right now in case of a runoff. The first mistake which Raila Odinga must avoid is over-dependence on the deep state. I watched the way William Ruto operated during this campaign, especially after the voting until the results were announced. And I'm questioning the deep state. Raila Odinga relied fully on the deep state. He believed that the only thing he has always lacked was that deep state. And because President Uhuru Kenyatta is the president of the Republic of Kenya, was supporting him, he knew he had everything under control. Someone was telling me that in the mountain, Raila Odinga did not have agents. Why? Because the deep state told him they were going to take charge. Raila Odinga must ensure that moving forward, he's not going to depend on the deep state. The deep state can tell him this, he can listen, but he must also have his own plans of doing certain things. For me, depending on the deep state is something which Raila Odinga must forget. Number 2, the second mistake Raila Odinga must avoid is the issue of trusting agents with the third party. Let us face it. Raila Odinga has petitioned the elections. Why? Because he believes there are certain things which were not properly done. He believes that the results which were announced at the polling stations are different from the ones which were announced at the Bomas tallying center. The challenge Raila Odinga is facing is that majority of these forms were signed by people who are not agents of Azimio. Which begs the question. Where were Azimio agents? Were they recruited? And by who? Were they paid? And if they were paid, why is it that they didn't perform their work? So Raila Odinga must begin taking the issue of agents very seriously. For those who know this channel, I've always reminded everybody that Raila Odinga needs agents. There's no way he can win elections without agents. And it's easy for Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga has a party called ODM. ODM has structures up to the grassroots. Basically, at each polling station in this country, ODM as a party has 20 officials. And they are never used during elections. Certain people will be brought on board. So Raila Odinga must invest in ODM structure and allow them become some of his agents. There are people who have stood with Raila Odinga, especially in the mountain, in Rift Valley, at very difficult points. These people cannot betray Raila Odinga. Most of them are in ODM. In the last election, I'm told the issue of agents for the mountain were left to Jubilee Party. Jubilee didn't have a presidential candidate. They didn't have a running mate. So all those who are charged with that responsibility then focused on their interest, either the county, the MP, county assembly, the MP, and the rest. So Raila Odinga must not delegate the issue of agents. Number 3 is messaging. How is Raila Odinga and his Azimio team going to package their messaging? Because remember, it's only 60 days in case it will be called. Martha Koome and the judges might decide otherwise. But in case of a rerun, what message, the platform they are going to run on? William Ruto is already identifying himself with the hustler. He's already trying to persuade the youthful population that Raila Odinga is now old. That they voted for Raila Odinga for long without getting president. That Raila Odinga was cast. Messaging. Within two months, what kind of messaging and branding should ODM as a party use? That's number 3. The Raila Odinga should never ignore the issue of messaging. Number 4, which is the most important, is that Raila Odinga must ensure that as he celebrates, because assuming the Supreme Court will nullify the election, there's going to be celebration. Assuming the Supreme Court nullifies the election, there's going to be celebration. So how is he going to sustain that momentum? Because once the country picks that, and you have 2 months to the elections, there's going to be a momentum which is going to pick up. How are they going to sustain the messaging? The 5th thing Raila Odinga must avoid is delegation of roles to others. Raila Odinga is good at devolving functions. He can tell you, okay, Lee, can you go and handle this? Oh, can you? He can do that, but he must be on top of things. If, for example, Raila Odinga had a functional secretariat, I don't believe the secretariat is functional. If he had a functional secretariat, I am sure someone somewhere might have called the agents just to confirm. Are you so-and-so? Yes. Are you ODM agent? Yes. From where? Which constituency? Do you have any problem? Or these are the phone numbers you'll be using to call. Raila Odinga decided to delegate. For William Ruto, he's in charge of everything. William Ruto, even if you are putting that flower on the dais, he's in charge. There are certain functions you can delegate, but not all of it. And lastly, Raila Odinga must avoid trusting IEBC. IEBC, as currently constituted, cannot preside over free, fair, and credible elections. Cannot. So Raila Odinga should forget about IEBC being free and fair. He must treat IEBC as scene of crime. He must ensure that his eyes are always on IEBC. The moves by Chebukati, the plans they have for the election, anything. Raila Odinga sent a team to Greece to oversee the printing of ballot papers. They came, they raised certain questions, and then they believed that Wafula Chebukati was going to address those questions. This time around, they should not allow Wafula Chebukati. If Wafula Chebukati is going to preside over the elections, his eyes must be on IEBC. I don't know what you think, but that's my take. Thank you guys, and please may you have a good day.